What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Links and Locks Best Bets podcast. I'm Jason Sobel from the Action Network. He is Ben Everill from PGA Tour and Golf Bet. This week, we're going to break down the Valspar Championship, everything you need to know. We're going to play 18 holes, make 18 bets before we move on. As a reminder, the Links and Locks podcast is proudly presented by Bet365, the world's favorite sportsbook brand. Sign up with promo code ACTION to get Bet365's exclusive sign-up offer in New Jersey and Colorado. Bet $1 on any game, get $200 for free. Benny, welcome back. It's been so long since I've seen you. I barely got a chance to even hang out with you when we were in Jacksonville together.
Yeah, mate, it was obviously a big week last week, the Players' Championship, and in the end, a pretty dominant victory, wasn't it, by Scotty? I mean, I think I went back through my picks. I don't think I had the best week, to be honest. But hopefully we can bounce back this week at the Valspar. I do remember saying earlier that, it's hard to bet on a guy without the massive personality, but he has the massive game, doesn't he? So you're just going to have to keep looking at him every time he tees it up from now on.
Yeah, I don't think he's sneaking up on anybody anymore. I believe that you, me, and Will Gray did a show for Bet365 beforehand where they said, which one of the big three are you going to take? And I think we had two Rorys and a Rahm. Yeah. And so that pretty much solidified Scotty Scheffler's victory on Tuesday when none of us picked him even inside the big three, let alone for the entire tournament. So our bad on that one. But yeah, Scotty is, if there's anything that we can say critically against Scotty Scheffler right now, it's that he's taken the air out of these big tournaments. Did it the Masters last year, did it the Players' Championship this past week, where we got to the back nine and there was essentially no drama left. Someone's got to throw a press on there or something just to keep us interested in this thing. Benny, you and I did play a lot of golf together this past week. We did press a lot. We did not wind up getting a lot of money coming back to us. So we're going to have to make some money back this week at the Valspar.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, as you said. And look, isn't it interesting though, just on Scotty before we move on? Like if this was Tiger or if this was a guy with massive personality, we'd be all excited watching him dominate. But when he's just so monotonously good, and not necessarily a big personality, it becomes like, give us some drama. So it's interesting how we view these things. And I guess we'll probably view his performances over this last year or so in a better light in 5 years' time, once more of his career is gone, I think, won't we? For now, we've just got to keep loving his wins, I guess.
Getting back to our match together, we did not play our best. I will admit that I was not my best, but I will also admit that you were way worse than I was. So you hurt the team more than I did.
Look, we'll throw it out there. I'll throw out a name, but there's a great restaurant there in Jacksonville, Taco Lou, and we were playing with the owner, who's a legend at Atlantic Country Club. Let's just say that I paid back all the free tacos I've got over the years at Taco Lou in that match, and it was all on me. And I apologize, Jason. Next time, I'll bring my better game for us.
No, I was actually impressed that we held it to only 8 presses by the end of it. The press store was open on Sunday, and we kept buying, and it did not turn out well for us. So let's do something a little better and try to make some money this week for the Valspar. Playing 18 holes, making 18 bets. Ben Everill, you were on the tee. Swing away.
Well, I'm going to go to our boys at Bet365 and go straight to one of their big boosts for the week. Not a huge surprise that I'm going to go for this guy as a winner, because he's won it the last 2 times. But the fact that they're boosting Sam Burns out from 16 to 20 to 1 on their boost is giving me a reason to sort of have a look at him. 2-time winner, as I said. He's going to be trying to be the first since Steve Stricker to win 3 in a row in the same event. That happened in 09, 10, and 11. 13 players since have had the chance to do the three-peat and have failed. But Bermuda Burns, he's hard to look away from. I mean, he's in the players that have had 20 or so more rounds in Florida since 2018. He gains 1.22 strokes on the greens per round over them. He's number 1 clearly in that stat. Also, go data golf on you guys. The approach shots from 175 to 200 and 250 plus this week are the big ones at Innisbrook. Well, he's first from 175 to 200 relation to par and third from 250 plus relation to par. So there's just too many reasons for me not to list Sam Burns as an option. And when I saw the boost, I thought, well, Bet365 is helping you guys out.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially what you're saying is Sam Burns, really good tee to green, which is very important on this golf course. And I'll get into that in just a few minutes, but also putts better than anybody else on Bermuda greens, and especially in Florida. You put those two things together and you can kind of understand how he's won the last two of these. So it makes a lot of sense. All right, I'll get to the second hole. I always like giving you a long shot outright right off the top. And my guy this week is a guy who just claimed special temporary membership. I don't know how all this works. Like he qualified for special temporary membership 2 weeks ago with a runner-up finish at Puerto Rico, but only claimed the special temporary membership today. I guess, I don't know, you can leave it unclaimed if you'd rather not have it. That doesn't seem like a wise move, but congratulations to Akshay Bhatia for becoming a member of the PGA Tour. He has been, for the last 4 years, a guy that a lot of people have talked about being the next big thing in golf. Made his debut here 4 years ago. One of the best Q&As I've ever been on hand for at a PGA Tour event. His second question in a press conference right after turning pro was, how are you going to handle adversity? And Akshay's answer was, can you explain to me what adversity is? He literally did not know what adversity was. And so his first 4 years as a professional, he has dealt with a little bit of that adversity, but now 21, now with a card, and now 90-1 in some books to win this week. I think that's a really good number for a guy who, like I said, we have known for a while that he is going to be a very good player. Could happen for him this week.
Yeah, mate, I love that actually. So I'm going to jump to what was going to be my ninth hole, but I'll throw it out here on the third because I had two long shots written down. One of them was that man, Akshay Bhatia. At the same number across books, you can get Swede David Lingmerth is another one I wanted to throw out there as an option in the long shot across the board. 4 top 10s going this season. He's sort of having a rebirth. Also was T6 last week at the Players. So I'm just banking on a little bit of momentum going forward. I thought that Lingmerth is someone in that big 90-1 range along with Bhatia that you could have a look at this week.
All right. Yeah, I like that. Lingmerth will be on Hitting the Green on SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio on Wednesday afternoon. Just I don't know how I knew that, but I'm just throwing it out there. Fourth hole. Look, if Sam Burns is the best putter on Bermuda greens, then Denny McCarthy is not far off. You throw in the fact that his iron play is much improved in recent years. And Denny McCarthy, we saw it on Saturday at the Players. He got super red hot for a little while there, cooled off towards the end, never quite made the run that we thought he might have been able to make. But this is a guy that, because of that putter, can get the ball in the hole in very few strokes, in bunches as well. So I'm going to go for a top 5 on Denny McCarthy this week, Benny.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, as I said, you need to obviously be good tee to green here. That's no denying that. You've got to keep it out of the junk. But you do have to also putt better than you would say last week when we talked about how the players need a tee to green game and just half decent putting. Here at Innisbrook, you need decent tee to green game and good putting. So definitely makes sense to throw Denny into any mix you're looking at in that regard. I'm going to give you my top 5, Guy. Again, not going outside the square too much, given he was T5 and T6 his last 2 starts. But Justin Suh, this is where I'm looking at plus 750. I think that he's obviously on a roll. We know that he's got talent. He's starting to get more comfortable in the limelight up near the top of these leaderboards. I'm going to keep his momentum going. And just on the side, I saw that he was in a 72-hole matchup at, I believe DraftKings, it might be Bet365, one of the two, but plus 165 to just beat Taylor Moore and Brian Harmon. So check that out as well, if you're a Justin Suh fan.
Well, Benny, I've got all my stuff written down here, and I don't even have to switch around holes because I'll show you right here. 6th hole, I have Justin Suh written down for a top 10. He's also in the player market bets at Bet365, 39th or better this week. We were hanging out with some of the Bet365 guys that we're working with, Jake and Liam and John this past week, and we started talking about these finishing position bets in the player markets, and we said, it always looks so easy at the beginning of the week. Like, of course the guy will finish better than that. And, they kind of smiled and said, yeah, you think so. They all look really good and they don't turn out that way. 39th or better for Justin Suh. who, like you said, has been 5th, 24th, and 6th in his last 3 starts the last 3 weeks. I think that's really smart. Also, here's a little stat for you, Benny.
Yep.
Last year at Innisbrook, look, we say every golf course, you got to hit it well tee to green. I mean, if you can't hit a driver, you can't hit your irons. Oh, by the way, you're not going to win a PGA Tour event. But here, it's even more important. Last year, of the top 12 in tee to green, 10 of them finished in the top 12 on the leaderboard. So essentially, if you're not hitting it well tee to green, you do not contend at this golf tournament. Justin Suh has been positive strokes gained tee to green in his last 7 starts. He's been more than 1.5 strokes per round positive in 4 of his last 5. The guy is striking it really, really well. The only thing that I see that could go wrong, Benny, is his 5th straight week playing an event. So maybe some fatigue sets in, but if not, he is a smash play this week.
Yeah, he's young enough for that not to affect him, but also like we've got to figure out how much gravitas the players was another step up. So we'll see. That'll be what we'll see. We'll see how his longevity, if you will, goes. All right, where are we up to? What hole are we hitting now?
We're the 7th hole.
Well, you mentioned the player markets, so this is where I'm going to talk about a lot of our big names that are playing this week. By that I mean Justin Thomas is here, Jordan Spieth is here, Tommy Fleetwood are here. Those 3 I signaled out here in this player market, and this is what I want to go with. I think Jordan Spieth will not necessarily play well this week. There you go. I feel like Jordan Spieth, when they've got him at 19 or better, I think that we go the other side of 19 or better when it comes to Jordan Spieth at Valspar. I know he's a former winner, but I feel this will be his relaxed week, even though he's playing. And I feel like he will potentially just play it as it lies, if you will. So I think this is a danger week for Jordan Spieth in that regard.
I will tell you more about what I think on Jordan Spieth later in the pod.
Okay. So we might be opposites here. But I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say that Justin Thomas is going to put his best foot forward this week. And he was 17 or better. Not a great spot here, only 16, 17 places. But little birdie tells me that Justin Thomas will not play the match play the week after. And with that, I believe that Thomas will put his best efforts forward and will try to win this event with everything he's got, knowing that he's going to have a little break. So that is my thought on those 2 big names. I think Fleetwood, 31 or better, is a great play. I do think Tommy Fleetwood is an option across the board. I think he could potentially win this week. He's not down anywhere else on my board, but he would, it was a hard one to leave out. So 31 or better, I like. And one last in the player market, I'm going to go for Wyndham Clark to make his personal best in Innisbrook. I saw 37 or better. I'm pretty sure 37th is the best he's ever had at this tournament, but he's trending in the right direction with his game, and he's the type of guy that could get it done here. So I use the player market to get a few of those guys in. Yeah, I'm just not convinced that Jordan Spieth will have his best this week.
All right. I may convince you otherwise in just a few minutes, but we'll get to the 8th hole. Cam Davis is not playing this week, I don't believe, but Cam Davis is a guy that I want to talk about a little bit because he was missing cuts everywhere going into last week. And then all of a sudden, out of seemingly nowhere, finished in 6th place. And I'm sure there was nobody or almost nobody that was on Cam Davis. There was no reason to be on Cam Davis, even if, like myself and you, Benny, you really liked him coming into this year. He didn't give you a whole lot of reason for optimism going into the biggest event so far. And so I know a lot of people, if you didn't get him, you were probably kicking yourself a little bit saying, man, I liked that guy 2 months ago. His number went way up because he wasn't playing well, and then I didn't take him anywhere, and he finished in 6th place. I see a little bit of a parallel with Maverick Mcnealy right now. Maverick Mcnealy withdrew with an injury from Pebble Beach about a month and a half ago. The next week, tried to play in Phoenix, withdrew from that one. Finally returned last week, just in 60th place. Wasn't anything special. The fact that he's playing again this week tells me that, okay, he's healthy enough, even if he's not 100%, healthy enough to go back-to-back. And when he is healthy, he is a much better player than the number is given to him this week. I'm still just going for a top 20, which is essentially my favorite Maverick Mcnealy play anyway, because the guy's got a very high floor and the ceiling is still in question a little bit, but when he's healthy and when he's playing decent golf, he is a top 20 machine. So I will throw him down for a top 20 this week at an inflated number based on no recency bias, the fact that he hasn't played well recently.
So I can throw in here that he was about 85-90%, he said, leading into the Players, health-wise. And look, you've sort of stolen my thunder a little bit. I'm waiting for him for the following week at the match play. He was an unlucky loser out of his group where, he didn't lose in the group stage and went to a playoff to get through and lost in the first round. Definitely one on my radar for next week in Austin. Yes, he is on the mend and on the move and trying to get his reps back going. You're right to jump on while the number is good.
Yeah. Ninth hole for you, Benny.
All right, let's go to. All right, I'll go to your man that let us down last week. I'm going to go back to the Keegan Bradley well for a top 10 plus 250. Was second here in 2021, 6 top 25s this year, including a win. Back to my data golf stuff, he's 7th on tour relation to par from 175 to 200 yards, which there's a significant amount of approach shots from that distance this week. And one thing I don't think we've talked about when we talk about him is he's also very motivated to get points for the Ryder Cup, to get back on that radar. And in fact, that may have been what threw him a little bit as that second round played at the Players. He might have been pressing a little bit, trying to get the points, a lot of points on offer. I think he learned from that. He was a little bit disappointed as he came off. He knew he'd let an opportunity slip. And I feel like he wants to get straight back on the horse, so to speak, get back on the bike and prove that he still has that game in order that he talked about in the lead up to the Players Championship. So I'm going to go back to the Keegan Bradley well for a top 10. I think he should pretty much cruise to that if he's got his head right.
So I'm not making excuses for Keegan. I know he's not making excuses for himself. But by the way, Keegan Bradley, you can find him on SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio later today, which is actually, that might be after the podcast out. So you can go back and listen on the app. But in any case, I'm not making excuses for him, but he tweeted out a video of one of his shots from the second round. And I know, not all missed cuts are created equally. And what I mean by that is there was a shot where he nearly dunked it. I didn't see what hole, maybe 12, but he nearly dunked it, hit right next to the stick, took a big bounce, rolled down a slope, and went in the water. And it was like, that's some bad luck right there. I mean, I get it. You got to know that the greens are firm and you can't overplay it. But I mean, he came close to making an eagle, and all of a sudden was, I assume he made bogey or double on that hole just because he got some bad breaks there. And so again, I don't know that it was fully just Keegan was not playing well as opposed to Keegan got some bad bounces out there. So I fully endorse the Keegan play again this week. One more reminder as we make the turn here, the Links and Locks podcast is proudly presented by Bet365, the world's favorite sportsbook brand. Sign up with promo code ACTION to get Bet365's exclusive sign-up offer in New Jersey and Colorado. Bet $1 on any game, get $200 for free. All right, moving to the back nine. I always like to start out with my first round leader bet. And I've got one that I like a lot this week, Benny. He's never played in this golf tournament before, but Will Gordon is 5th in round 1 scoring average so far this year. The golf course should suit him. His average, I believe, 68.57. It's more than a full stroke better than he scores in any of the other 3 rounds. And so at 70-1, I am jumping on Will Gordon at least for Thursday, if not for a 4-round play.
Yeah, I like that, mate. It's funny. I've used the first round lead. I'll go to hole 11. I'll hit the same market. Originally, I had this player slated for top 20, etc., or 48th or better in the player market as well, which I like. But given the number of 55-1 for that first round leader or more, depending on where you look, I'm going to use this spot for Brandon Wu. I think he's a good long shot across the board as well. He's T14 Honda, T19 players, starting to make a name for himself, starting to build something. Look at all those markets, said top 40, top 20, top 10, 48 or better, but also maybe it's worth a small dabble there to get a hot start.
All right. I like that. I am with the 12th hole going to go with 2 players. I've got them for top 30s, but that's just sort of a rough estimate here. I mean, this is essentially play them Play him for if you want to be a little more aggressive, top 20s, maybe even top 10s, and certainly DFS this week. A current number 1 ranked amateur in the world and a former number 1 ranked amateur in the world, Ludvig Aberg from Sweden. Oh, Benny, did I steal a guy from you?
Yes, you got me. Next
This kid is really, really talented. I would venture to say that he is as good as at least the bottom half of the PGA Tour players right now, if not better than that. And then the former world number 1, Cole Hammer, who's essentially in golf purgatory right now. He's got conditional status on the Korn Ferry, hasn't gotten into many events. He's taken sponsor exemptions on the PGA Tour. But for a guy like that, every start that you get means a little something more. And so for him, he's got a 5th place at the RSM Classic already this year. He's not that far from getting that special temporary status that we talked about Akshay Bhatia getting. So I would not be surprised if Cole Hammer steps on the gas pedal this week and does something really special as well.
All right, mate. Well, yeah, you took my 13th hole, a top 40 play, Ludvig Aberg. So plus 150 in spots for a top 40. Played extremely well for most of the Arnold Palmer Invitational recently. He's definitely an older amateur, if you will. You know, he's not he's not a 17, 18, 19-year-old. He's in his 20s already. He's already well established and well accomplished. And I think that he's the type that's just going to seamlessly come out on tour much more regularly very soon, and put himself in the mix for big events as we go along this season and beyond. So yeah, I think that plus 150 is a great number for Ludvig Aberg.
There we go. All right, 14th hole. This guy who I think has a wild amount of talent, but I stress the wild because it can go south in a hurry. But when it's really good, it tends to be good for a little while. He's a momentum type of player. I still think that give it a couple more years and Garrick Higgo is going to be a very good player for a very long time. For now, I'm just trying to jump on him when he's hot. I don't know that he's necessarily hot's probably not the right word to describe it right now, but he's at least tepid. He's playing decently. And so the number in the player finishing market this week on Bet365 is 56th or better. I will jump on Garrick Higgo to do at least better than that against what is, look, this is a top heavy field. Top 10 or 12 on the board are all pretty good players, but there's a pretty big drop off after that. And so there's not a whole lot of competition for these player finishing bets. I do like, if you like a guy, I like jumping on them for those bets this week.
I'm a big Higgo fan. You know, young guy still trying to find his feet. Great story, backstory in him. And you're right. He's just very inconsistent at the moment, but when he's good, he is clearly good enough. He's already proven it to win on this tour. So it's one of those ones where you just got to stick with him. You know, you just keep going with him. You're going to ride the lows, but you're going to get the highs as well. So I like him. I'm going to go to another youngster that I think that is going to be on the radar for a top 20 play. He's plus 400 for a top 20. Did in fact finish in the top 20 the last time he played on tour at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. That's Piercerson Coody. Here's another guy that a name, if you don't know it yet, you better learn it. He spells it all sorts of weird ways. His first name look like, don't ever call him Piercerson or whatever else. It's just Piercerson Coody. He is the man coming through. Another one of the guys coming through the ranks that don't sleep on. So I saw 400 for a top 20. I think he's capable for sure.
I'm definitely going to have a DFS lineup that starts out with Coody, Aberg, Hammer, and Bhatia.
Wow.
They combine 53 years old or something like that. All the young kids, and then top it off with a couple of big names. All right, 16th hole. I'm going to go with a matchup play here. Look, I like Adam Hadwin. Adam Hadwin's done some really good things recently, but I'm going to fade him when I can get Tommy Fleetwood as an underdog in the same matchup. Tommy Fleetwood, even money against Adam Hadwin. I don't think this is a smash where it's, Hadwin misses the cut and Fleetwood finishes in the top 5, but I do think that Fleetwood's got a little more firepower than Hadwin this week.
Well, we've finally done it. We've got some drama. I think I know where you're going in an 18th hole, and I've already necessarily said, get off him, and you're going to tell everyone to get on him. And you've just given my outright 17th hole a fade. I'm going to say that Adam Hadwin is going to win this tournament this week. Adam Hadwin is the 2017 winner. He was T7 last year here, T13 at the Players. I think he's around 22-1, depending on where you look for this week. I already liked him before I looked up the stats, and then we talked about the data golf thing I was telling you before. Relation to par from 275 plus yards. Adam Hadwin leads the tour, 11 under in first place from that distance. If he can keep that going, be half decent on the greens, bring his tee to green game, I think the Canadian can absolutely play well this week. There's nothing to say against what you said about Fleetwood, because I saw that exact matchup and I was looking at plus numbers and I saw Fleetwood at a plus number. I was like, whoa, that's a good number. And then I realized it was against Hadwin, and I pulled back because I like Hadwin to win this week. So I'm not necessarily saying that your choice is absolutely poor, but I don't think it's going to pay off, because I think that Hadwin will be there when the whips are cracking Sunday.
Maybe, Benny, we need to get a prop on a former winner to once again win again. You like Hadwin, you've got Burns listed there, and I am going with my favorite outright this week. Short number, but I think the opposite of everything you said about Jordan Spieth. You and I are not in the same camp on this one at all. This will be his last stroke play event before the Masters. He is playing the match play next week, but I've looked at Spieth, the entire Spieth experience that we've witnessed over the past month, with wild highs and some low lows, and looked at him almost like a race car driver, Benny. Like, hey, let's see how fast we can get this thing moving. And if we crash and burn, so be it. Jordan understands, maybe as much as any player out there, that his game does not need to peak before the 4 times a year that they want their games to peak. And so he's played some good golf. He's played some, he's shown his ceiling and his floor within a 9-hole stretch on multiple occasions. But I think at some point he said, okay, I've got the good stuff down. Now I can dial it back just a little bit so that I'm not making too many mistakes. 12-1 is a short number. I understand it, but like I said, this is a top-heavy field, and I really think the best of the best, if they show up, are really only dealing with about 8 to 10 guys that are on that talent level with them. I think Jordan Spieth is ready to go win. We saw it last year after a big event where he went to the Masters, played not very well. In fact, I think he missed the cut last year at the Masters, if I'm remembering correctly, then went over to Harbortown and won that week. Played well, finished in the top 20 at the Players this past week, but I think he can go to a regular event after the Players, relax a little bit more, and go out and win once again. So I'm on Jordan Spieth, you're off Jordan Spieth, and we'll see what happens.
Counterpoint. Jordan Spieth was a man's knee bone away from missing the cut last week. He blasted that thing out the right on the 9th hole, hit that guy's leg, and it rebounds into the fairway. He manages to make eagle on the 9th in his final round to get in the cut and play the weekend. Also, look, he's only 18-1 or so to win the Masters at the moment. I'm looking for a missed cut and a terrible performance in Austin, so that number rises, and then we can get on him for the Masters, because I feel like we are trending towards a Jordan Spieth year at Augusta National where he will be in the mix. So, look, I'm willing it so that number rises for the folks out there. But I feel like we're trending towards Spieth being back in the conversation at Augusta. So the bigger the number, the better there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. I do like him for Augusta moving forward. He will be very close to the top of my list when I come up with it in a few weeks. So thanks to everybody out there for listening to this edition of the Links and Locks Best Bets podcast. Remember, you can find our pod wherever you find your favorite pods. Download, subscribe, rate, and listen every single week during the PGA Tour season. For Ben Everill, I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck with all your bets for this week's Valspar Championship. Here's hoping you hit the green.